Everyone, it's Barbara Hayward here from the Old Girls Spiritual Stuff YouTube channel and Facebook page. Welcome back. And if this is the first time that you've seen my videos or know anything about what the work I do, welcome. And you know that strangers are only people we haven't yet met. So, as I've said in all my videos, I am so blessed that I get to meet and interview only the very best people. And today is absolutely no exception. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a lady that I've known about for about a year. And recently, in the last couple of months, I've got to know quite well. And her name is Nina Maglic. Sorry, I hope I haven't screwed that up. Um, Nina comes, Nina lives, I do this all very organic, don't you? And the mistakes that we make, we keep them in. But before I go to Nina, I do need to tell you that these three lights up here, I wish they were spaceships, but they're not. I live in a house bus. There is no space, and it's the reflection of the lights on my window. So I do apologize for that. It is early in the morning, and so I've needed the lights on. But I wish they were spaceships, but they're not. And Nina is living in Austria. And as you know, I'm an Australian, so there's a connection there. And I live in New Zealand. I am incredibly impressed with Nina. Her heart is truly magnificent. She is so authentic. She speaks her truth. She walks the walk and walks the talk. She's a lady who is at this time living right within her destiny. Her destiny is not coming, it's already here. And how blessed are we to get to know what her destiny is. Nina is going to make an impact around the globe. So today may be the first time you hear Nina's name, but it will not be the last. She has been tapped on the shoulder by God to do a most incredible journey, job, destiny, whatever you want to call it. But her name, Nina Maglic, will be known globally. And I am so blessed to be able to introduce you here today for the very first time and not the last, so that we can hear about who Nina is, how she became who she is, what her history has been, and why her authenticity will just shine out, not just to me, but to everyone. And with that, welcome, Nina, and thank you so much to come to us today from a magnificent country, not unlike Australia, but Austria. Thank you so much. And would you like to just introduce yourself to us? Tell us a little bit about your history, where you've come from, and where you're going.
Thank you, Barbara. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Barbara, for the beautiful introduction. It's really incredible. Thank you so much. And I just want to say you are an incredible soul with amazing skills and amazing ability to read and give amazing readings. And I can just say thank you so much for the work you do because you're changing people's lives. I know you changed mine. Thank you so much.
You.
For everybody who is listening or watching, if you see me for the first time, welcome. My name is Nina Maglic. I'm an intuitive marketing architect, CEO and founder of Healing Millions, on a mission to help healers, help others, and together we heal humanity. That's my mission. And to be honest, my life wasn't easy. I never intended to be a healer. I'm also a healer. Life just put me on that path. For many of you if you don't know me, I grew up in a war. We lived 3 years in a war. I grew up in Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's the country that had 5 wars in 100 years. So we had a lot of things to heal. Um, Yeah, it wasn't easy. Like every day you face that, you face fear, like there's no electricity, no running water, no food, no money, nothing. Nothing. You're just scared for your life and your family's life because you never know if you're going to survive the next minute. And if you're going to take a water, you need to stand in a line and they're shooting on you and you think, oh my God, am I going to come home? How am I going to come home? That was my life for 3 years and my family's life. We just wanted to survive. Like surviving by more day was like a winning a lottery. And we won that lottery. We survived after 3 years. And as everybody else who survives war, we try to move on with our life, as nothing happened. But we know that deep down inside us, there's a lot of pain that we carry. And of course, with that pain, like, oh my God, why I was born in that country, um, you ask yourself, God, why did you punish me so much? What did I do to you? I was just a child. Of course, you have all these thoughts, and I had them too.
Roughly
And
how
as we
old
moved,
were you, Nina,
I
when
was
the war?
six,
Six.
six,
So
and I
six,
was
seven,
nine and a
eight.
half.
Right, when it finished.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to live a normal life, and I just moved on, and I did everything what you're supposed to do: go to school, get a job, and of course, I graduated from the university, one of the best universities for marketing master in the world, Vienna University of Economics and Business, and I started working. I did marketing campaigns for Fortune 500 companies. Uh, I did a lot of things that I really just feel blessed and I enjoyed. And then I got very sick. And I tried to find solution to my pain. I had enormous cramps. Every time when I had a cramp, I was paralyzed for 1 hour. And nobody knew why. Nobody. And I spent 18 months at the hospital begging for solution. They did all blood tests, all body scans. Nothing showed why I have a pain. And there was a moment at the hospital, they told me, it's going to take us years to find the root cause of your problem. And I said, I don't have one more day to live with this pain. I cannot walk, I cannot work, I cannot do anything. I don't have life. So as you can imagine, I was very desperate at that moment. And I said, like, just because they don't know about the solution, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just need to look at the other place.
How old
And
were
on my
you?
way,
How old were
I
you at
was
this
30,
stage?
at that stage, I was 33. Yeah. And then I just, in that very desperate state, I just scheduled a call with an energy healer in LA. I said, I have nothing else to lose. I lost everything. So I gave it a try. In 2 sessions, I became pain-free. And that changed my whole life. I said, oh my God, I want to know
Goodness.
what you know. I want to be able to help myself anytime I need it. I never ever want to beg for help. And this is how the journey started. I started learning about energy healing just to help myself. When people saw my transformation, they start reaching out to me. I start helping them. They start referring me their friends and family members. And without even realizing, I was booked weeks in advance. And I said, oh, this is not hobby anymore. This is a business. So I needed to treat it as a business, which was big shift in my mindset.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, everything was fine. And I was working, I was doing healing sessions. And then there was a moment in my life when I realized that I started attracting a lot of women who had a lot of pain, survived, had really, really bad lives,
Right.
really tragic life. And I came to a conclusion, if you think your life is the worst one, you haven't heard enough stories. I always say that because you haven't heard enough stories. You can live in the most peaceful country in the world and have the most traumatic life you can even imagine. And you know, very often I will finish sessions, I will start crying because as a healer, and Barbara, you know that as well, when you connect with somebody, you see what they went through. You feel the pain, you feel like the struggle, you feel everything what they feel. And for me, very often it was too much. It was really just too much because some of these pains are, I don't know how these women survived, but the pain was really deep and like a knife twisting. I cannot even explain how it did. It was really just a lot. And I remember I keep laying in my bed and thinking about these women and think about, is there anything I can do to help them? Because obviously it was too much for me to work with them and continue working with them. I needed to take a break to heal myself. I took 8 months break to heal. But I never forgot those women. And I promised myself I will figure out how to help them. And that moment I realized I will empower healers to build their businesses so they can help them. People who can work with those women can help them. And this is how Healing Millions was born. Like, I'm going to help healers heal others, and together we can heal humanity. And all of a sudden, my marketing skills became my healing powers, because this is what I do with healers. I help them with their businesses, and they help others. And this is how Healing Millions was born. And because I truly believe there will be no peace in the world until we heal the parts of us that are
That
wounded.
I fully agree with you. Can I just go back a little bit with an example here? And I'm going back about 8 years. Um, it was pointed out to me one day for my life that I had PTSD. Well, actually,
Mhm.
CPTSD. And I was under the apprehension that PTSD was only for those who had gone to war and
Mm.
seen and done things and for their lives. Until I realized that since I've been 4 years old, I've been at war, surviving through the experiences that I've had through my life. And that got me thinking that if I had gone through from the earliest experiences around war and continuing, then if I've got PTSD, unbeknownst, how many others have got PTSD? I was in Melbourne living at the time, and I was driving, or my hubby was driving into the city, and I had the talkback going on. And this lady, she was a counsellor or something, and she was talking about the youth of today and how lost they are, and there's a lot of mental illness. And I got to think, Australia was at the stage about 25 million people, but I just want to put it out there. And I thought of all the kids out of dysfunctional families, mine and worse than mine, and how many of that behaviour was coming from PTSD. And it really got me thinking. And as you were talking, I wondered whether your illness was PTSD related, that just showed itself in this particular form. Because we know when we get illness in the body, it's because our body is out of ease with its pure self. So when you're healing people or you're performing your healing on them, is this a possibility that you're touching their PTSD?
Yeah, very often people who had very tragic life, they suffer from PTSD. And definitely, there's so much undiagnosed PTSD, I would say. And very often people have, like you said, some reactions in their bodies that get their attention to start paying attention to what's happening actually. In my case, I wasn't diagnosed with PTSD.
You won't be.
And it was like they didn't say anything about that. They just couldn't find this
Yeah.
solution. They didn't understand why I have a pain. Um, right now, but I have to be very honest, when I start my healing journey, of course, as every single healer, we need to go back and start thinking about, okay, what was out of alignment and what needs to be healed. Yeah.
I and when I took that example and I looked at the globe, our
Mm,
wonderful humanity that is dying with this undiagnosed, extraordinary condition that can't be found, that a
mm,
doctor can go in and can't pinpoint it.
yeah.
And I was watching a video of a nurse in Britain, and she was told in her intern that there will be women come in, and it was primarily women here, and they couldn't find the diagnosis, so they just put it as WW. And if the woman is in New Zealand, we've got the word Pakeha, which means white New Zealand, if you like, not Maori people. And that was WWW. And she asked the doctor, "What's WW?" And he said, "Whiny women, just whiny women." And in fact, for the W, it was white whiny women. So it this comes from a long time back with undiagnosed, really severe issues. And it comes from the our experiences. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's very sad that, I think that it's a very sad that very often when you go to doctors, I don't know how it is in Australia or New Zealand, but very often if you go to hospitals, doctors do not have so much time to check you and to listen to your story, to really find out what is happening to you. They have maybe 5 to 10 minutes or max 15 minutes to ask you what is happening because they have an next patient waiting. So if you can't, if sometimes when you have this problem, you don't know even how to say it, that
Mhm.
they can understand and start searching for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem. But if doctors had more time to really discover and go back to childhood, understand what is happening in their everyday life, and understand the environment people live, it would be much easier to diagnose things.
Also, we're starting, would you agree? We're starting to put our childhood experiences that go into the deep DNA cells that our memory remembers the pain, the survival, the not thriving, just survival tactics that the young body goes through that that tries to keep them alive. And they're now learning the connection between the emotional body, the psychic body, the spiritual body, and the physical body. And I think that what you've done is that you've been able to work with all the bodies because you're not
Yes.
restricted in the old traditional ways of the body is just the body and you just deal with the body. You don't deal with holistic. So
Yes.
you went into the holistic, the whole body.
Exactly. This is what I do. Really understanding, okay, the pain is always the starting point, but then understanding the story behind the pain and like all the things that are happening. Of course, when you're a healer, you are able to tune in and see what happened.
Yeah.
But very often, as you mentioned, a lot of pain is caused by unprocessed emotions that we carried since we have been children, but nobody taught us how to process emotion. They don't teach this in the school. If you don't know, you simply don't know. You just move on, and everybody says, keep going, be strong, and that's it. And this is what we do. But if we do not process those emotions, if we do not really understand where the pain is coming from, it's going to be really hard to heal. And on top of that, this is what I see, like very often we need to help people overcome their own fears, own doubts that the healing is possible and help them build sustainable habits. That's that's the hardest thing is like healing can happen fast, but helping people build sustainable habits, healthy habits is really hard. And this is why healers need to work with somebody for a certain period of time to really help them, guide them through the certain process. It's not that we want that, it's like this is necessary for a person to really
Hmm.
change.
I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I think, wow, thank you. It and that really makes sense because from a little person, a child, most the majority of us that are damaged or PTSD, whatever you want to call it, it does start from early age. It starts from an age where we don't have a voice. And
Mhm.
when we get a voice, we don't know what that voice needs to say because we never connect that experience. Because I'm in my 70s now, and what we were told is just get on with it. Just put it
Mhm.
behind you. Don't think about it again. Put it behind you. And and as a little person, we're not believed. So we know that intrinsically. And and my things was my type of war, but you actually lived in a war. You had the noise of the bombs. You had the understanding that if you're thirsty, you may not get water. You
Mhm.
don't know, as you said, you don't know if you're going to be alive that night or if you're going to wake up next day.
Mhm.
The trauma that goes into that for people who didn't have a say in that. You
Yeah,
you weren't you weren't part of the decision making to have a war, but you lived the war. So,
exactly. And that was the really hardest part to heal because I had so much rage and I didn't understand why until I started really discovering that all that pain and rage and anger came from that little girl being silenced and not be able to do anything. I didn't make any decisions, and I didn't want to have war, but I was there. I didn't have a choice.
mm,
And that was the hardest thing to understand. Why would somebody do this? You know, and why we cannot do anything to stop it. And
mm,
there was so much rage why they want to try to kill us. I didn't do anything to anybody. I was 6 years old.
yeah,
I just came to the world. And I think I'm not the only one. There are so many people out there living in their life. It doesn't have to be war. It can be something else. But we
be a
have,
personal war.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely so much pain that we don't even know why we have so much pain, why we carry that anger until we start exploring it and really understanding, oh, this is what is happening. And it's not easy. You really need help because the scariest place to visit is your old wounds. Go back, and nobody wants to face them. It's really hard. So I needed help. I needed help to go through the process, but I just want to say, everybody who's listening or watching, first time is really the scariest. And then the second time you go, I said, oh, it wasn't so scary. Okay, let me go back. And the more you go there and the more you understand and start healing yourself, you become liberated from that past. And I love that because, the moment when you feel liberated, you do not forget your past, but you don't have feelings attached to that.
yeah,
And that's why I call liberation.
right. And from when you began your um, sessions, I'll call them sessions, I don't know what the word is, with the energetic healer, roughly how long in time did you notice? You said after the second session, but you would have had more sessions. What was that like for you in the feeling part of it? What were the symptoms that you recognized had shifted and changed into something more beautiful? What was that like?
I would just say to you, like the first session, the pain was almost gone. The second session, the pain was completely gone. I have never had that pain again. That was the biggest shift I noticed. I said, oh, this is working. Let me learn how to do it. So the next thing, what I noticed, the more I worked on myself, I needed to heal a lot of inside me. The next thing, what I noticed, the more I do this work, the more energy I have, the more I smile, the happier I feel. The whole world changes. All of a sudden, like people around you change because your energy changed. And it's just beautiful feeling when you wake up in the morning. The more you do, really, you need to do the work, of course. You just feel like I'm not tired anymore. I'm really not tired. I'm just feeling amazing. And I could have 10, 15 sessions per day and I just felt amazing. Yeah, you just needed to learn how to really channel the energy, not to really give your energy, but really to channel the energy from the source. That's really important because at the beginning I didn't know that and I got like exhausted from my sessions. And I learned it after 6 weeks. Okay, you need to really channel the energy from the universe so you don't give somebody your energy. And you really need to take care of yourself before you help anybody else. You need to take care of yourself or work on yourself. Uh, I remember when I started my healing business, uh, I worked with clients, and she said to me, "You need to go online. You need to be online. You need to go on social media." So I'm like, "No, I don't want to go online." I had my marketing career. It was like everybody knew what I was doing. She said, "But you need to go online." And I was so scared to go online, what people are going to say about me. What if they judge me? All these people I worked in marketing, they are going to see that I'm a healer now. And she said something that was so true. She said, "How can you help somebody overcome their fears when you have so much fear?" And she was right. And I needed to heal that part. I went online. I was so scared. I was so scared. I will never forget the moment I posted something on LinkedIn. Especially LinkedIn was like, I had a lot of people from marketing on LinkedIn. And that was the moment I received beautiful comments. And one of my professors, she was also my mentor, master thesis mentor at Dean at university, and I worked on project with her. And she reached out to me and sent me a beautiful card. And she said, "It looks like you found your calling. What can you wish for more?"
Wow.
And Barbara, I cried like a little child. And the reason why I cried is because I understood that the only person standing in my way was me. If I want to help heal millions, I need to overcome myself, my own fears, my own doubts, so I can help others to heal too. And I need to lead by example. And that was the biggest aha moment for me.
S- Isn't it amazing? And I've noticed it over my life that normally the biggest leap that we make comes from a sentence, just somebody's sentence that in that moment in time just whacks us across the head. And yours was you found your calling. I know I have a friend who my friends have come out of readings and it's a wonderful story how we met. But I I I had a hypnotherapy session with him, and I exasperate him. I absolutely make him tear his hair out, and I don't mean to, but that was the way it was. And this session, he got really angry at me, and he said, "Barb, of all the people I know, you are one of the most intelligent, the most spiritual, the most knowledgeable women I've ever met, doing nothing, doing nothing." He said, "Your audience is waiting. How dare you die with your knowledge inside of you? Your audience is waiting, and you owe your audience your knowledge." And I just wrote down your audience is waiting. And when I got scammed 2 years ago, they took everything out of my 6 bank accounts, and we were left with $2.59 or something in the 6 bank accounts, and we were 70, and we're too old to start again, right? Like that. And in my absolute desperation, all I could hear was Joey's voice. Your audience is waiting. Your audience is waiting. And that's why the old girl's spiritual stuff came from. It was like, what do I love doing? I love telling stories. I need a YouTube channel, and was given the name. Then I realized I needed a Facebook page, and that's how it began. Through 8 years ago, a guy getting so exasperated, he spurted out, "Your audience is waiting," and all this came out of it. And healing millions has come out of your professor's one line: "You are now in your destiny." So,
Yes.
so when you were going through and okay, I'm stuttering here. Just let me gather my thoughts. You went to an energetic healer. Obviously, you were guided to her or him. And in that guidance, are you aware, and I know you are, you were always destined to go to that person? That person was going to shift and change your life forever. It wasn't just
Mm.
for the healing, but everything in your life changed through that first session.
Yes, actually, it was very interesting. I knew her sister. She was an author and she was a healer on Mindvalley. So when I reached out to her, she said to me, "I'm not doing healing sessions anymore, but you can do session with my sister." I said, "I will take that. I just want to help, you know." And I scheduled a call with her. You know, that's something that is so powerful about healing. Healers will not even know that they changed your life. But I spent that money on healing. That was the best money ever spent. My life changed. Her life didn't change. She continued doing what she was doing. But thanks to her, my whole life changed.
Not only that, but through that healing that she was
Mm.
able to so accurately and so perfectly shift your body. She didn't know in that moment in time that you're going to shift the body of millions. And that's the influence. When you work authentically, when you work from the pure essence, that's what happens. That's what
Yes.
happens. And that's what you've been gifted through
Thank
to who you're becoming. And you're
Yes.
so right. I've done thousands of readings in my day. And I did get burnout, but that's a whole different story. But the reason it never affected me, because I could do 8 or 10 a day, was because I didn't own the readings. I gave them. I didn't own them. And that's what you're saying. You don't own the energy that comes through you. But it is combined. The energy that comes through you is also your energy. Because as the saying goes, the Father and I are one, but you don't
Yes.
hold on to it.
Yes. This is what I really do not believe that I heal people. I just channel the energy that heals
Absolutely.
them. And I always share with people like I teach you tools. You can help yourself. But actually, you need to do the work to heal yourself. You need to show up for the sessions that we together can do the work. I can teach you, but it's up to you if you're going to do this work.
And but we're not really the catalyst. We're just part of the process.
Yeah. We're just pointing them in the right direction.
And giving, as you say, giving them the tools. So so how has it altered your life in your personal life? How in what ways have you become happier? What ways have you extended your energy levels?
Okay, I will be very honest. Before this healing, I couldn't even walk from pain. I couldn't do anything. So I was really happy if I get to the toilet alone without help. And the first thing what I noticed that I was able to walk alone without help. And that was huge for me. The next thing what really helped me was uh, you know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you feel like hit by a bus and you just want to go back to bed? That was my life. So the first thing what I noticed in the morning I wake up, I have energy to wake up, sit on my bed and start my day. That was a huge thing for me at that time. Um, and then what I noticed, I had more energy during the day. I didn't need nap because before that I needed to rest a lot. I couldn't do things. But after that, I was able to do things without napping or resting. I had actually more energy. I was able to walk longer distances over time. And that was for me the biggest shift. And all of a sudden, when you start achieving those small things, for me, they were big things, but in reality, they are small things. My whole life changed. My whole perception about life changed because I started noticing it. Oh my God, this is so awesome. If people just knew about that, everybody would have so much happier life. At least they would have more energy to do the things they want to do, and that makes them happy. And that's why I started sharing it. That
One of
really
the,
was a
as you
big
were
thing.
talking, one of the words that came to me, talk to me or talk to us about your enthusiasm for life again. Because when you're in that critical pain place, there is no enthusiasm. It's
Yeah.
just getting by.
That's so true because, it's just another day surviving, another day thinking why I'm here. I have another day with pain. Um, Enthusiasm for life was, you know, when you wake up in the morning and have energy to do whatever you want to do. That was for me a big step. And all of a sudden, I was able to do things I wanted to do, but I couldn't do it previously. And that means I was able to walk, to spend time with my friends, and to start talking to people. That was for me a big thing, like going outside because it was not really possible at that time from the pain. And I felt so in love with life again. I I bought a flower. So many, like it was planted with a lot of flowers. And I look at every single flower on that plant and I said, all these flowers are former wounds I had. They are now blossoming and they are healing. And I saw that I said, I need to take care of this plant. I cannot just leave it like this. I need to water it, to leave it next to the sun. And that really made me so happy to see that it's possible to heal. It's possible. I didn't believe everything what they said to me. That's not, it's going to take them years to find the root cause of my problem. I said, I will figure out. The solution must be out there. I just need to find where. Um, I think the biggest enthusiasm for life was being able to smile again. Smile, but really smile because you feel happy. You have this smile because you just feel, oh my God, life is so amazing again.
One of the things I find with you, which I have not shared about with anybody, is your magneticness. You've got this beautiful spiritual magneticness that just, it's like a magnet and it draws you. It's like, I love being in your presence. I love hearing your name. I, and Nina and I are on a private women's group, and that's how we met there. And I hear her name all over the place doing different things, but you've got this massive magnetic personality, and your happiness and the glow that comes from your inner God is so attractive. I mean, you are attractive, but it's so magnetically attractive. And when you're in chronic pain, you can't have that. It is there, but it's not in it's like the light globe goes on, if you like, from having the light globe not on to having it on. And that comes from being pain free and
Mm,
understanding. But it also comes from a lot of the releasing that we do with PTSD is that we don't even know we've done it.
mm,
It's the results of having it removed. Um, it's it's been able to take in more knowledge. It's been able to appreciate things a lot more. It's it's one of the things I've started doing again is I've started to slowly go back to reading. I haven't been able to read for about 5 or 6 years, 7 years, and because my brain just won't take anything in. And so tell me or tell us about your vision for the world, for Mother Earth, your vision for humanity.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking me that. My biggest vision is to make healing affordable and accessible to every single person on the planet so that we can heal, so that we can have a better life in the future. And as I mentioned to you, I have this amazing community with healers where we offer daily live sessions, Monday to Friday, to help people with specific issues. And it's a global movement from Australia to US, Canada, Europe, and I'm so excited about that. That's my biggest vision. I wanted to make healing accessible because I know that not everybody has a lot of money to pay for their healing, and sometimes healing can take time. I wanted people to have access to that because I believe in more people heal, more peace we will have in this world. And because hurt people hurt, heal people healed, and we want to have more peace and healing. That's one thing. The second thing, what I'm doing also with healers around the world, I have this beautiful initiative called the Spark of Joy. And that initiative is to bring kids hopes and dreams back.
Wow.
We have resources for kids all over the world for free. Every single healer gives a specific resource. We have meditations, we have affirmations, we have some other things that can benefit to kids, and we are giving these resources for free to all kids in the world. That's something that we do. The Spark of Joy is our initiative. The only thing, the parents need to request resources for them. And the next thing what I'm doing, and it makes me so excited about even thinking about that, is having a live event in Vienna, where people come together to heal. And the reason why I chose Vienna was that the First World War started when Austrian king was attacked in my country in Bosnia. He was killed. The Second World War started, actually Hitler was an Austrian. And there's so much energy here in Europe that is affected by those wars. And we also had other wars in Europe. So my biggest mission for this event is to bring healers together for days, to come together with people, 10,000 people or even more, let's see, to come together to heal and change the frequency inside, change the frequency of the world. So we together can heal. That's the biggest mission I have. And yeah, that makes me smile. Can you imagine what we can do if we change, for example, kids' lives, giving them hopes and dreams back and helping them heal at a young age? Can you imagine what kind of world we are going to have in 20, 30 years? Can you imagine what is going to be after the event when 10,000 people come together to heal together, and what kind of effect that will have on the world? And what kind of effect is going to have when healers come together inside the community, making healing affordable, accessible to every single person of the planet so we can heal? Can you imagine the impact of that? Uh, I think it's going to be amazing what we're doing. And I love that we are a global community, that I have healers all around the world, that we can cover all time zones and help people heal. And they have a live support every single day. I wanted that to be, because very often people do courses or group programs, and in between they are missing this support. They are missing this support, and especially if you're just started healing, like, we need support a lot. Just to be honest, it's really hard to face our fears and pains and doubts. It takes courage, and during that specific time we really need support from somebody, and that's why I wanted people to have support. They can heal and we could change the world.
When I first came to New Zealand 30 plus years ago, I've been working consciously in this spiritual field for 40 plus years, 42 years now. And I came to it quite late, at 30. And when I first came to New Zealand, my career took off. It was just, I got a radio show and just for 3 years, and it just went berserk. But what I noticed was I had no one I was able to talk to. I wasn't able to talk to about energy. I was not able to talk to anybody about fame. I wasn't able to talk to the extraordinariness of being a recognized identity. And I didn't have anybody to help walk me through that journey. And of course, eventually I had to burn out and collapse, because one of the things that we're not taught how to do is say no. And it's okay to say no. So I feel that you having this support system in place is extraordinarily essential. Now, when we were talking last week, one of the decisions I've made is at the moment, I walk with a walker, and it looks like reasonably within 6 months, if nothing happens, I will have to go into a wheelchair. And I've decided that's not going to happen. And I'm going to be in Vienna in 2 years' time.
Yes.
And I'm going to walk freely. And however that takes me. And you are so right. There was a study done in New York where they got, I think it was 1,000 people together, and they meditated for an hour. And the crime rate, and this is when the crime rate there was, so it must have been 20 odd years ago, and it dropped by 25 or 75% for that day and for the week afterwards. Can you imagine now getting 10,000, 20,000 people in the one place who are extraordinary in this new energy of goodness, to bring that sort of healing, how that would permeate throughout the planet for not only human beings, but for birds and plants and trees and the whales and the ocean. This is extraordinary what you're doing. And it's a fact of what you're doing.
Thank you
Nina,
so
thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting to know Nina. You will hear her name more often in more circumstances. If you would like to be part of this, if you would like to get more information from Nina, we will put a link to the information. But if you could give us a link here, how can people find you, locate you? How can they connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is on my website, ninamagic.com. That's it.
Great.
My name, ninamagic.com. You can find all the information there. And I would love to connect with people from all around the world. I love people from all around the world.
Fantastic. Now, off air, before we started the interview, I said to Nina, I had an opportunity to talk to Nina last week or the week before, whenever. And it was through a Zoom meeting, and I had to put her name in there. You see, I always thought for the past year, your name was Nina Maglic. For some reason, I never saw the L, Maglic. I always saw it as Nina Maglic. Now, was I wrong? I'm asking the audience, is she not magic? She may be officially Maglic, but this is Nina Magic. I don't care what else she does. She has the magic. Can you not feel it? Can you feel it through the airways? It just shines her magic, her, her magnificent, her deliberate manifestation of healing. Let's support her. Let's work with her. Let's change this beautiful world that is got some idiosyncrasies going on at the moment that are not too good. Because you know what? Global goodness does matter. And that's my hashtag. Nina, thank you. We will talk again. And I just want to say to everyone out there, wasn't I right? Don't I interview just the very best people? The very best people. Nina, Thank you. Keep up the good work. More is coming your way. And don't forget to breathe either, will you? And stay
Thank
rooted
you.
in your light. And until next time.